Nevada's cultural heritage is known worldwide, and it's as varied as our bright neon cities and rugged wilderness landscapes. Every week, the Nevada Department of Cultural Affairs brings a piece of that heritage to your living rooms through our documentary series, Exploring Nevada. I'm producer and host Gwen Clancy. Welcome to the colorful world of cultural affairs. The land now known as Nevada, from the Spanish word meaning snow-covered, extends over nearly 110,000 square miles of largely mountainous terrain. The great majority of our rapidly growing population dwells in the Las Vegas area in the south and the Reno area in the north, leaving most of the state to the jackrabbits and wild horses. For the relative few who live or travel here, these vast open stretches hold a treasure trove of possibilities. But how do we even begin to comprehend such an immense land? Surely one way would be through the ground itself, through its geology. Fortunately, a few hard-working, independent-minded prospectors, each with claims of their own, allowed our micro crew to tag along for a few days, showing us their way of looking into Nevada through the eye of the prospector.
Just good clean limestone, looks like.
And I look on geology maps and also on, I have some satellite photos and things like that, and I look for faults, because faults are a real good indicator of a place that might be mineralized.
It's hard work, you know. You have to be willing to spend a lot of time in the field, because you're not finding these ore bodies in an office. You just have to get over the field. And
our road and air trip through the geology of Nevada included, at various times, Bob Steele, who's been prospecting since the age of 17, former school bus driver Debbie Bustos, whose passion for rocks liberated her from more traditional jobs, renowned geologist John Livermore, who has arguably tramped over more ground than anyone living today, historical archaeologist Mary DeLaMere, who volunteered to carry the tripod in order to learn more about her now deceased father and his discovery of the famous D mine in northeastern Nevada, and myself operating the camera from behind the scenes. We'll begin our story in the mountains just east of Ely, in the far eastern part of the state, along the Utah border. June 3rd, and it's 2007, and I'm Gwen Clancy, and we are videotaping out in the Chainman Shale. And we've got Bob Steele over there, we're taping him, and John Livermore's taken off up the hill somewhere.
It's a vast world that we live in, and there's only a few places that there's mineral deposits. Mother Nature's hid them mineral deposits, and it's kind of tough to find them. Yep, pretty nice looking ore. Here's one right here. It has the copper and silver in it. You can see the copper and the silver.
Well,
and
the copper's the
green and the blue. Mm-hmm.
Where's the silver?
Well, and that's right in with it. That's part of the rock itself. That's scattered within the rock.
Would that be called high grade?
This would be high grade. This would probably run, up in the high 20 or 30 ounces of silver per ton, and probably as much as a 0.5% copper.
Well, that's pretty good, isn't it?
You bet. That's awful good ore.
You think they could use this old shaft behind you?
They probably could renovate it. It looks to me like it's in pretty darn good shape still. When I was a young man, about 17 years old, I went prospecting with my father for uranium. And this is some of the type of uranium that we found. I made a pretty good bunch of money out of it. I was young, foolish, bought me a nice new convertible, and had a lot of fun. And then uranium went to pot, and so I've hunted for uranium, gold, silver, base metals, precious metals.
Bob Steele has spent more than 5 decades investigating firsthand the mineral deposits of the West. Even so, he says he's still learning from a man he considers the leader in the field.
What it is then probably is the leaching from the ground underneath,
Yeah.
and then the calcium coming back up and reprecipitating.
Yeah,
Is
it
that
usually
correct?
comes in quite late, and we get fooled sometimes. And so this particular rock can be a very favorable unit. In other places, this pilot shale has produced some pretty good ore bodies. Right in here, it's not mineralized. That's the nature of the game. Sometimes this will be mineralized and not that. Other places, this will be mineralized and not that. You can't figure those things out. Anyway, we'll see this transition. So now we'll go on up above, and we'll look at an interesting exposure of a real Carlin type mineralization. We're going to go from.
John Livermore has devoted his life to the study of rock formations. He was a geology student at Stanford University when he first came to Nevada on a summer field trip back in 1939. Over the past 70 years, he's worked in South America, Turkey, Canada, and other places, but he keeps coming back to Nevada.
It's the Janet there, and there's down here. So you have jasperite, and you've got calcareous shale, siltstone. This is a typical Carlin mineralization right here above, I'd say. Would you?
Yeah, you bet. So they went ahead and came up here and drilled the Chainman, hoping to find the silicious zone down below that had the silver, and I assume it's silver. This is what John likes to see for gold. This is and the no-see-um gold rather than. So it don't have to be silicious ore like the ore down here below. It can be just a plain shale like this and have gold in it.
Nevada was made famous by the discovery in 1859 of the Comstock Lode, the richest known U.S. silver deposit. Since then, Nevada mines have produced large quantities of silver, copper, lead, zinc, mercury, barite, and tungsten, and of course gold, which now far exceeds all other minerals in value of production. Biggest of all is the famous Carlin Trend, a belt of gold deposits about 5 miles wide and 40 miles long. These deposits, known as microscopic or invisible gold, contribute more than $1.8 billion annually to Nevada's economy. Today, with the price of gold hitting record highs, it's likely the boom will only continue. But to extract wealth from the ground, you've first got to have someone discover the ore, and that takes a combination of talents that includes grit, intuition, experience, patience, and a certain optimism.
On this rock here, you just take a piece and get after it. And I've got a real good size hammer here so I can break this rock good. And you want to get into, a fresh bunch of it. And you don't need a real big sample. That rock right there could be assayed, and that's all you would need to take. In the early days, I used to gather up a whole bunch of those rocks, and I'd end up with 40 pounds on my pack trying to get it out of areas. But John told me, he says, all you need is just like a fistful. Got to get my hat on. I get pretty hot out here.
We've joined up with Debbie Bustos on a claim she's filed just outside Ely at an abandoned mine.
A lot of people wonder why I'm a prospector, being a woman, and mainly it's because of my love of the outdoors, and I just have always tried to find anything that would get me out there. And I also had a great-grandfather and a great-uncle in Idaho that they had a silver mine up there, and they got me interested in it when I was probably 5 years old, 6 years old. And this is out at their mine, a little bit of the shaft.
Okay.
There. And I'll turn it over, and here is a better picture of it.